I think that my superpower was making animatics. And I would use Storyboard Pro to just like make an animatic. She was just like, what is this witchcraft? Big game changer for the whole industry. But Simpsons was one of the first shows to start with it. Was being able to make your own animatics or rough animatics. It was a little controversial when it first started, when it first happened, because we were first given the software Storyboard Pro and told you don't mess with the timing or the timeline, just draw on it. You use it to draw your panels. It's a nice efficient way of organizing your panels, and then we'll send it to the editor and let them do their thing like they always do. Well, me and this other storyboard artist named Lucas Gray, we shared an office, and we were pretty young and ambitious and eager to please. We were just excited at the potential of the software where you could bring in the audio and actually work to the audio and plot out little camera moves and see it in real time. And so even though they told us not to, we took this one episode and we just made animatics, and we didn't tell anybody until our storyboard meeting. And when we went in there, we still had the paper version that we printed out, so we didn't want to get fired or anything. But we also brought in the QuickTime on our laptop, and we were like, hey, I know you didn't ask us to do this, but we couldn't help. We got excited. Here's a rough animatic, and the timing was rough. We weren't trying to make it perfect, but we pushed play, and you just saw an animatic. It was very obvious when stuff was working, when camera moves, poses were hitting on the right moments. It just felt right, and we didn't have to talk about it because it was just working. And then when something was a little weird, we'd stop the movie and we talk about it. But we ended up having such a fast meeting that the directors were like, why isn't everybody doing this? And we were like, yeah, they can. And then we had a big meeting with all the storyboard artists where the directors were like, so from now on, we want you guys to do what Brad and Lucas just did, make your own animatics. And all the other storyboard artists were pissed. They're like, what? We're not being paid to be editors. We're not being paid to be timers. We're not getting extra time. What the hell? And we made enemies very quickly with the rest of the storyboard artists. And we were like, well, we weren't trying to be rebels or anything. We just it just creatively unlocked so much for us, so much potential for us to feel like we were filmmakers. But it definitely, we made enemies after that. But then it was pretty soon after that not just The Simpsons, but every show just did that. It was inevitable. It was gonna happen.
I want to give a shout out to 21 Draw. If you don't know, 21 Draw offers online courses and books on how to be a better artist for students at all skill levels. And all their courses are taught by some of the best artists in the world. You can take classes on character design, animation, background design, even promoting your stuff on social media. It's fantastic. Check out 21 Draw with the link below to help support the channel.
The way I ended up on the Minions was totally by accident. Over the years when I was on The Simpsons, I used to do freelance for The Simpsons marketing department. So sometimes that meant doing drawings for t-shirts or toys or magazine covers, whatever. I made this relationship with this brilliant woman named Gail Harrison, who eventually went over to Illumination. I asked her if she had any freelance, and she's like, oh, I'm doing Minions now, but if you can draw Homer, you can draw a Minion. It's like Homer's head. So I started doing Minions freelance. She was like, can you pitch some ideas for some short films or whatever the assignment was, a commercial or a gag, whatever. And I would use Storyboard Pro to just make an animatic. She wasn't used to that. In features, nobody uses Storyboard Pro. Everybody uses just Photoshop. So when I would turn in these quick times where I would have minions moving and slapping each other, and there'd be sound effects and dialogue and music, she was just like, what is this witchcraft? And I'm thinking well, there's a lot of people on TV that can do this, but if she thinks I'm special, great. And she showed this to the boss, Chris Meledandri, who's the guy who's the Walt Disney of Illumination. And he was just like, dang, get this guy over here. So I ended up going over to Illumination doing more and more marketing. And I think that my superpower was making animatics. Couldn't believe it, but a couple years after doing that, just freelance, I got a call from Chris Meledandri saying hey, we're looking for a co-director for Minions 2. And I thought it was a mistake. I was like me? I have no business co-directing a feature. I've never worked in features. I've never worked in family entertainment. I've never worked in CG. And he's like, that's okay. We just need comedy. We need funny, fresh, new ideas. And you've shown that you can generate a lot of new ideas with your little fancy Storyboard Pro software. That's how I got tossed into it. It was totally unexpected, but life-changing. Talk about being in the room with like the most interesting people. I got to be in the room with Chris Meledandri, who's this, I really truly believe is the Walt Disney of our generation. The guy's brilliant. Being with him was amazing. Working with the other directors was amazing. Working with the greatest storyboard artists in the world. I got to be in the room as they were directing. You know, we were directing Steve Carell. I got to direct half of the actors. The whole experience was just crazy. I was pinching myself every day, being like, I don't know how I ended up here. Like, I feel like one of these days someone's going to realize that I'm a fraud and like, you know, yank me out of here, so I better enjoy it while I can. Like the way I ended up on the Minions was totally by accident. I remember my first day on the Minions, I was so excited. All right, well, here we go. We're making Minions 2. Like, where's the script? And they all laughed at me.
This is Brad Abelson, an animation director who is absolutely crushing it in the animation industry. From storyboarding over 150 episodes of The Simpsons to co-directing The Minions 2, a near billion-dollar box office smash hit, Brad has mastered the art of animated comedy. In a highly competitive industry, Brad has built a career on making audiences laugh. With all of his success, it's crazy to think he got his first job on The Simpsons as a teenager.
I got the job on The Simpsons when I was 19 years old, and I couldn't freaking believe it.
This guy is legit.
I'm on the greatest show in the history of television, and I'm allowed to do whatever the hell I want. But if you want to be a creator, no one's going to hand you that opportunity. You have to make something.
In this interview, you'll learn the secret to Simpsons comedy.
Often comedy is clarity. Okay, here's a good example.
How he maxed out his credit cards to make a film and eventually got his own show on MTV.
You know, my dream came true. I got my own show.
How he accidentally became a director on The Minions.
I got a call from Chris Meledandri, and I thought it was like a mistake. Me, like, I've never worked in features. I've never worked in like family entertainment. I've never worked in CG.
Keep watching because at the end, he'll give some inspiring tips on how to pitch your own shows, how to storyboard.
When I'm looking at a storyboarder, I'm always looking for, and that's the hardest thing.
And even drops a shocking storyboard portfolio hot take that you might not expect.
Believe it or not, really good artists are a dime a dozen. Really good action storyboard artists are a dime a dozen. Really good storyboard artists are really hard to find.